Hello and welcome back. So, I hope you had a chance to go through our previous video in which we have explained the roadmap and all the milestones we are going to achieve in this roadmap and the details of the subjects which we are going to learn in every milestone. If you have not gone through that particular video, I strongly recommend to go through that, and I'll be providing the link to that video in the description of this video. So we are going to start our development journey and we'll be creating the expense tracking application which can be used for any household requirement, be it for you as or for your friends. So let us start now with defining all your bank details as well as the payment modes. During this course, we will also be learning about how to structure your data as a table and how to use simple formulas and format the table. And we will be also learning how to identify duplicates in your entry and remove it. Let us jump directly to the Excel and start working on it. We are going to create an application for tracking our expenses on a daily basis, and we are going to arrive at analytics as well as controlling the expenses against the budget. So normally how we will do the expenses? So we will be doing the expenses either by cash or we'll be doing it through a credit card or it will be a bank transfer. There are many ways we'll be utilizing our funds and spend the money. When we are creating an expense tracker, it is mandatory that we should know in which mode we have made the transaction. So first, what we are going to do, create a new workbook in which we'll be creating one Excel sheet to have the list of payment modes or the payment instruments through which we will be doing the expenses. Let us start with that. When we are doing that payment mode Excel sheet, what are the things we are going to learn is we will learn how to create a new Excel workbook. You may be already knowing it, but then also since it is starting from the basics, we are covering everything, you can always skip it. We'll be creating a simple table and we'll be formatting the table, and any table will have a serial number. We will learn how to do a flash fill, and we'll be defining the banks which are associated with your payment mode, and we'll be defining the account details. And during that time, we will also learn how to identify duplicates and remove it. So we'll start from simple method and we'll also learn about the complex methods too. And we will define the monthly limit and calculate the annual limit based on monthly limit. And we also learn about how to customize our currencies. Let us jump directly. Let us see our finished expense tracking application to know how we are going to use the payment mode feature and how we are going to track the monthly expenses against the payment mode. So for that, let me open our finished expense tracking workbook. What you are seeing here is the payment mode, and in this I have created few payment mode and I created the bank account, and you see it is having a total of expenses made every month. Okay. In the expense tracker, when we are creating a new expense, for example, I'm creating a new expense for current date. Okay, so I'm selecting an expense head, and as soon as I select the expense head, it's asking me to select the mode of payment. So the mode of payment, I'm using it in a combo box kind of a control in which the payment modes I defined here are only displaying, and I will not be allowed to enter any other thing other than what is already defined. For example, let me see if I say by bank something I'm putting, so it provides me an error. This value does not match the data validation restriction defined for this cell. Okay. So but if I select something from here, I can select it. Suppose if I am giving, so this is the July month. If I'm spending if I'm spending, for example, 5,125. I entered a value, something like that, so that I can understand it better. If I go here, if I go to the July, you can very well see. Let me just increase the font. In July, through the credit card, I can go to the expense tracker and say through credit card 2518, I spent 5,125, which has come here. So this is what is the feature which we are going to implement using the payment mode definition. That is why we are going to create it. Let us start creating our workbook. So as a first thing, I'm going to open Excel. So I open my Excel and I'm going to start with a new blank workbook. So I created one, and as a housekeeping exercise, the first thing what we are going to do is to name our workbook and save it in a proper place. So let me go to File, Save As, and I say this is my expense tracker, and I'm giving my name here. Okay. So I am storing all my data in OneDrive, and I also recommend you all to save it in OneDrive. And if you don't have an OneDrive, you can always save in your local folder. My OneDrive is configured in my local computer, so I'm going to save it in my local computer, but it is linked to my OneDrive. So as soon as I saved, if we can look at here, so it auto save for this Excel sheet is enabled. This helps me in not losing any data. So all my work is saved automatically. So let us start with creating. The first thing we are going to create is to record all our payment mode. So what is a payment mode? So we'll be doing all the transactions through multiple modes, like paying through cash or paying through credit card or paying through a net banking or a bank transfer, many things. Let's have a track of the type of instruments which we are going to use, and later we will track how we are spending through all these instruments. Let me start as usual with the serial number, and then I'm going to create a payment mode. So let me start. We will fill the serial number later. The first thing, normally we will be making everything, all the expenses through cash. And in the modern world, we have started using digital payment, that is through digital wallets. So, what are the few of the digital wallets we use? So, we use, for example, Apple Pay, Google Pay. Okay, I'm in India, and one of the most popular digital wallet application is Paytm. So I'm using Paytm also. So you can, depending upon your country and the type of digital application you are having, you are using to make your transaction, you can define all the things you need. So the next mode through which I will be doing my expenses is through bank transfer. So let me just create few of my bank transfer details. So I'm using, for example, Standard Chartered Bank, etc., etc. So instead of going through all these things, let me just copy a few of the things which I already created and paste it so that it's easy and explain. Okay, so I'm going to copy and paste some data here. Okay, so I have cash, and I will be doing some digital wallets like Apple Pay, Google Pay, WhatsApp payment, or Amazon Pay, and I do have some cards. So I do have some bank account, and I also have additional cards. Now I'm going to make this column as wide as I need. So I'm selecting this column and pressing double click so that it is having the same width as the maximum length of data what I have. Okay. So then let me define what is the payment type. Few are credit, few are debit. Okay. So let me define my payment type. So cash normally is cash. Apple Pay You can either configure your digital payment to directly transfer from your bank account, or you can use the credit card. So let me use as direct debit. So Google Pay also is for me is direct debit. So WhatsApp payment is direct debit. Amazon Pay also is direct debit. Okay. When this is a credit card for me, and this is a debit card for me. Oh, sorry, this is a direct debit because it's a bank account. I'll be transferring it directly, and this is a direct debit, and this one is my credit card. So as usual, I'm expanding it. Now I need to know, even though we are going to do direct debit or through credit card, I need to know to which bank account it belongs to. So let me have one thing called. Okay. So the first one, cash, is a petty cash which I have. Let me call it as cash. And I have a bank account called Standard Chartered Bank. I have here, so I can copy and paste it here. Let me copy it. And this Google Pay, I am linked to, for example, HSBC account. I linked it here. And WhatsApp payment also, I am linked to my HSBC account ending with 013. And Amazon Pay, I'm associating with Standard Chartered Bank. And like this, let me copy my data and let us go through it. You can define according to your requirement. So I have some cards which are credit card account. I have some bank account which to which bank account I have associated. Everything I have defined. Now it is time for me to define the monthly limit. I set monthly limit for every type of instrument so that I have a control on it. So cash, I can have a maximum of 5,000. So currency, we will say how we will define our currency. Set my limit, like I cannot do more than 5,000 rupees as loose cash. I defined it. Like this, I defined for my Apple Pay, I set a limit for maximum of 3,000. Okay. Google Pay, for example, I set a maximum of 2,000. I set 1,000 rupees or 1,000. Let's see what currency it is for my Amazon WhatsApp payment. Amazon, I'll be buying frequently from Amazon. So I may have a little larger a limit, maybe 3,000. For this credit card, let me set a limit for 4,000. And this is a bank account and through which I'll be paying most of my bulk of money transfer, like my EMIs, my credit card payment, multiple things I will do. So let me set a limit for 80 80,000. And this is another account which I will be using for minor payments like insurance and tolls, for example, whatever it may be. I set a limit for some 10,000. Okay. And this is a credit card. I would like to set the limit of my credit card spending to 4,000. Now, I have some numbers. I am from India, so I'll be using a rupee as my currency. Maybe you are from some other country, or you may be from any country. So you need to define your currency. So what I'm going to do as a standard, let me define a dollar, US dollar as my currency so that it is standard for everyone who are going through to whichever country you are belong to. So it will be easy. Okay, now we have created a simple table. So we need to have a serial number for it. So let us know how to do it. So I'm just typing 1 and I'm typing 2. Now for the rest of the things, I want the serial numbers to be filled as 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So how can I do it? Either I can type it 1, 2, 3, 4 something, or I can use the flash fill feature of Excel by which I select these two and drag it. So a continuous serial number is done. Is there yet another way? Yes, we do have. So I deleted it and I selected these two, and I'm keeping my cursor to the right bottom corner of this box, and my cursor will become a plus symbol, and I just press double click. So it automatically fills. So, what is the limitation in it? Will it work in all conditions? Yeah, there are few limitations, and the limitation is that on the adjacent column, be it on the left hand side or on the right hand side, the the value should be continuous. Suppose if you are having one blank row in between, and if I select these two columns and I set double click, so it will fill until it finds a blank row, or suppose if I'm having some value called x, and if I said select this and double click, so it will fill until it finds a blank, or it finds a row without a data. So if you have in some data already filled, so it won't fill. So if how to overcome, select it, just drag it, so it will fill. So I'm going to delete it now and refill again. You can select any number of rows and refill. Okay. So we have learned how to do a flash fill. So this flash fill is not only for this number. Let us see, for example, I have something called January and February. Now I select January and February and I'm dragging it here. It will fill January, February, March, April. So Excel is so intelligent that it understands what this guy is going to do, and accordingly it will fill. So let us see what other feature we have in the flash fill. Assume I have 2, 4, 6. So there is even numbers I have filled. Now I am filling it. So it fills everything, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So it finds the pattern and accordingly it fills. Let's see yet another example. I have Monday, I have Tuesday. Okay, I'm filling it now. Now it has filled with the days: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like that it has filled. Okay. We'll see one more example. I'm having a number called ABC001, and here I have ABC002. What happens if I'm trying to do a flash fill? You see, it understands the pattern and accordingly it will fill everything. Okay, so let us delete it. Now we know how to do a flash fill, and we know how to define a cell as a currency or accounting. And next we will see how to do a simple calculation. Now I have a monthly limit. Now I want to see now I want to set an annual limit. Let's go very simple. I just want 12 times the monthly limit, that is 12 months, is my annual limit. I'm just doing a small simple formula by which I'm pressing equal to and pressing left arrow or the mouse cursor to select the cell value, and I'm pressing star, which is a multiplication symbol, and I'm typing 12, a hard coded 12. So it calculates the monthly limit multiplied by 12 and provides a result for me. Okay, so should I do the same formula again for all this cell? No. Here is where the flash fill will come into the picture. I'm just keeping my cursor to the right bottom of the cell and I'm just pressing double click. So it automatically calculates all the values with the same formula which I used in the source cell. So why these columns are coming as some hashes? Because the space is not sufficient for these two columns. I just click here and double click so it adjusts the space accordingly. Now let us do some beautification to make this table appear better. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a cell border. So I'm making it as all border, and then I'm going to make this heading with a different color. So let me choose a theme. This is a green theme, and I'm going to make this as bold, and this space here is more. So I'm going to reduce the size by selecting the column and double clicking on the far right border of the column. Okay, so I'm going to reduce the size of serial number. Okay, so everything is done. Now let me add one header to this so that on seeing it itself we know what this record is. So I select from column A to F, and I'm going to merge this column. I merged it. Let me type a heading. This is payment mode master record. Okay, and let me make this as bold, and let me increase the size of the text by increase font size. Let me make it this way and give the same color over here and make the border also. Okay. Now I need for this entire table, I need a thicker border only from for outside. So I select all borders and go select thick outside border. I selected it. Now it is looking much better. But I feel that it is always better to know what is my total monthly limit through all mode of transaction. So I'm going to implement something called a total. I make this as bold and make it right aligned by clicking this alignment, and then I'm going to insert a simple formula. As we have learned earlier in the basics, I'm keeping the cursor here and I'm just selecting the sum button. It has created the sum for me, and I have created a formula for this cell, and I'm going to copy the same to the next cell. So I can either just drag it by clicking the bottom right corner of the cell. That works for me. I can increase the width of it. If I don't want, I copy this, right click, copy, and right click and paste. So both will give the same answer for me. Now I make this as bold and give a thicker border. Okay. Does it look good? After I make this expense mode of payment, now I realize that I need all this bank account also created as a master so that I will use it for my analysis. How can I do that? Before that, we missed one step. That is, we haven't provided a name to the sheet. So I'm giving a sheet name. I double click on sheet 1, the sheet name, and I say this is payment mode. And this is a green theme. So I like to have my payment mode sheet to have a color with the same color. I selected green theme. Now let us go back to our new idea. I want, if you look at the associated bank account, you see Standard Chartered Bank two times or multiple times, HSBC account multiple times, another thing. Now I want to create a master specifically for my bank account. So I'll let me create a new sheet by clicking the plus symbol, new sheet. I created one. First, let me name it as bank account. And for this, let me create a scheme, a color scheme, where I will select plum accent, that is a color name given, so I given the color to this. Okay. Now, how do I create the list of bank accounts which are unique? First, let me copy this. I copied it. I'm going to the bank account. Let me paste it in one place. Okay, let me increase the size of it. And as usual, let me create a table. This is serial number. This is bank account. Let us limit ourselves only for this. As usual, I'm creating my serial number 1, 2. I'm selecting these two and I'm using flash fill. Or so we have the bank account. Now I need to find the duplicates and keep it only unique value. How we will find the duplicates? So the easy way, if you have only minimal data, is to do it manually. That is by I'm selecting all these things and I'm going to sort the record according to the name. So I selected all these things. I go to the sort and filter and say sort A to Z or Z to A, whichever you like. Now if you see, the bank accounts are sorted according to its name. Now what I can do, I can easily go and keep only one which I want and delete the rest of the thing. But is it workable solution? If it is a small amount of data, you can very well do it. But when you are having more number of data, it is very difficult to do it. So let me revert back to the old structure. Now let us see the next way. The first thing I want to see is like I just want to highlight those records which are duplicate. So one option I have here is called conditional formatting. If we go to the conditional formatting, these are all advanced topic, but then also I thought let us have an introduction of it. I'm going to the conditional formatting and I'm going to manage rules, and in that I'm creating a new rule. If you see that, format only unique or duplicate values, this option is available. Okay, format all duplicates or format all unique. Okay, let me keep it as duplicate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the background color of those records which are duplicate. So I'm going to format it and I go for fill and let me choose some color. Let me gray out those records which are duplicate. When I say OK and say OK, say OK again, if you see that whichever record which are having duplicate values, that is more than one, are coming with a different color. So this also, even though it can display, identify and tell you which are all the records which are having duplicate value, will it remove the duplicate? No. Even this is applicable only if you are having small amount of data, or if you have a large amount of data but only one or two items are having duplicates. So let me revert it back. Okay, so this is one option which you need to learn, but we will cover it in the later stage also. Okay. XLS provided another way by which you can delete the duplicates. So I'm here and I'm going to the column called data, where if you see the option here, there are three, the data tools, you have an option called remove duplicates. So I just press this remove duplicates. It will ask you whether you want only this column to be looked for it or you want the entire row to be verified. Okay, I say continue with the current selection and say remove duplicates, and you will say the bank account column, you have to select which are all the columns you want to find the duplicates for. And if you say okay, all the duplicates are removed and I have only unique values available in this record. So let me just create 1, 2 and create a serial number. Okay, and for now let me just create what is the name we have given, the same thing we have given, monthly limit and annual limit. Okay, and I select everything and make it the same kind of format. Let me make And let me not fill any color for now, and I make all these things as bold. Okay, let me select everything and structure it, increase a little bit for serial number. Okay, and then let me add one more row above and call this master. Make it bold, and the theme we are given for this is this pink color. Let me change this also to pink. So we learned many things today. We learned about how to create a simple table, how to create a flash fill with multiple options, and how to create simple formulas, how to add total of a column, and how to copy and paste the data to another worksheet. Also learned how to identify duplicates and how to remove the duplicates. In the beginning of the video, I covered why we are creating the payment mode and how we will be using the payment mode in our expense tracker. So similarly, we will proceed further with expense header, and in that also we'll be learning new concepts, and slowly we will continue with our expense tracker development. I hope you like this video. I request you all to please support us by subscribing to this channel and liking our content, and above all providing your comments so that we understand how we are progressing and what is the improvement we can do. You can add our comment for your questions, doubts, or anything, or even if you have some suggestions for improvement. Every comment is welcome, and I will be personally answering to your comments. Thank you. See you tomorrow with yet another episode of proceeding with our expense tracker application development. Bye bye.